In this video, you will learn how to use Percona XtraDB clusters in an OpenStack cloud running Tesora Database as a Service platform. This is the way you can create MySQL clusters. The process of creating a cluster begins by clicking on the Launch Cluster button. Next, type in the cluster name and choose the data store, which in this case is Percona XtraDB cluster. Set the flavor as medium and volume size as 5. Percona clusters require a minimum of 3 instances. In this example, the cluster name is PXCCLU1. Click on Launch. The cluster is now created with 3 instances. You can access the MySQL Percona cluster through any of the instances. Now that the cluster is created, you can connect to it. This requires the command line interface. Using the CLI, you can see the cluster is there and working. If you want to see the cluster instances, you can do a trove list, but you have to include the specific ones. Run the command trove list -- include -- clustered. Here are the included instances. This shows the list of instances. If you forget to do that and just say trove list, then you'll have an empty list. This is because it doesn't show the list of clustered instances. Here are the 3 instances. Next, we will create a database and a user before associating them to these clustered instances. Pick any of the instances. Copy the ID. Now type trove database create. Paste that instance ID and call it PXCDB1. You also need to create a user to connect to the database. Call it PXCUser1 with a password value of password. Now you can connect the user to the database. In this case, the user is connected to the database on this particular instance. But now keep in mind that this cluster has 3 instances, and the user in the database will be part of all of those. You can now take a look at your cluster. Just type trove database -- list command and paste the ID. If you do a user list, you can see that there is a user and it is connected to the database. If you go to another clustered instance, let's say the last one, and just type trove user -- list with the ID, you will see the same user and the same database there. Next, you can connect to the database with the MySQL client. First, you need to get the IP address of the clustered instances. You can get this from the Tesora dashboard. So here we have 172.16.200.2 to 200.4. You can try the first one. With the following command, you can see the PXCDB1 there. Now if you go to a different clustered instance, let's say the last one, you can see it's there. So this shows you how to create the cluster, a database, a user, and finally how to use the Percona XtraDB cluster.